You are now locked in and listening to The Issue.
This guy is a franchise quarterback, and no, I don't want to hear any pushback on that.
It feels like a top 10 roster to me. It feels like it can win a championship.
This is The Issue.
Yo, what's up? We are back. It is The Issue. Welcome to 2023. Happy New Year. It is Thursday, January 5th. First episode of the new year. We have a lot of football to talk today, so we're going to start off with a rant from Tim, get into some of the NFL player safety stuff that we've been seeing recently in the league, and then finish off the first segment with hits and misses. Then we're going to do our top 10 quarterbacks in the second segment. We're going to get into the news to finish off the second segment, and then we have our last week of NFL regular season predictions, week 18, to start the third segment, and then we will have another kind of rant discussion to finish off the show. But big things today.
I hit double-digit wins, 10, 6, and 1 in predictions.
Yeah?
Feels good. Hoping to go to 11.
Doesn't feel good for me, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, that's a tough one. But
A lot of double-digit losses this week, so.
Something.
Yeah.
Something.
Indeed something.
At least you're exceptional at something. Just happens to be exceptionally bad.
Yeah.
This year, though. We're
1-1.
1-1.
1-1 on the total count.
Right.
So the rubber match will be next year for sure. Other than that, guys, pretty good show. Go follow wherever you listen. So subscribe on YouTube. We appreciate it. Go over to our social media. Check all that stuff out. TikTok has been huge in the last week. If you saw us on there.
Hating on it.
Yeah, we've been catching some heat on there, but I mean,
they don't like the truth. They don't like the truth. Look,
that's what good content does.
That's what good content does. You're right. It riles people up. But let's start with the obvious here. Damar Hamlin goes down with a scary injury in the Bills-Bengals game, right? And I know from like Twitter, TikTok, all this, that I'm not the only one who thought that instantly, right, that happened. You see the severity of it within the next, you see the severity instantly, but within like 5 minutes you realize like, oh, this is bad.
Yeah,
it's not just bad, it's bad.
That was bad.
And like I said, I'm not the only one who thought instantly that this game can't go on. Like it's about time to stop, right? You're sitting there watching Sean McDermott. He's talking to the officials, and Zach Taylor comes over, and Sean's almost in tears at this point. Some players are in tears, and you thought, this game's not important anymore. It can't go on. Clearly, you can't ask those players to be put in that position after their teammate, and even on the other sideline with the Bengals, seeing somebody go down like that, you just couldn't go on. They made the right decision to postpone the game and indefinitely suspend it or whatever the official term is, right? But this is a very crucial season for the NFL for player safety. This is not an isolated incident. I mean, these are guys. They're people, men, fathers, sons, brothers, right? We've seen Tua have very serious head injuries, right? Devontae Parker had to have his teammate stop the game because he was wobbly trying to line up for a route. Right? This is a crucial point in the NFL to make a slight pivot. Right? I'm not asking the NFL to be flag football. I'm not asking that we outlaw hitting and take the pads off and we make it glorified flag football. That's not what I'm asking. But this league has 53-man rosters for a reason. Right? Maybe. What if we increase to 60? Does it really cause that much of a burden on owners from a cost perspective? 7 more guys making league minimum? Does that matter? Not really. Because the precaution needs to be not precaution anymore. It needs to be normal now. Right? Let the guy from Southern Washington Tech, who's your 59th guy on the roster, right? If you expand it to 60 in my eyes, right? I think it'd be a wise decision. Let him get a shot. Let Kurt Warner was undrafted. Randy Moss is from Marshall, fell in the draft. Right? Let these guys get a shot because of the precaution you're taking. So it's dual benefit. More safety, and we get more guys involved. Right? We've seen this, especially this year. Like 40-some different guys starting a quarterback. It's like an NFL record for most starting quarterbacks in a season. Right? Brock Purdy was Mr. Irrelevant. Now he could lead a team to the Super Bowl. I mean, who knows? Right? They're a Super Bowl favorite for sure. Right? So let's take that precaution with those hurt and let others get a shot while these young men get healthy. But with that being said, I'm not naive to think that one thing cannot be ignored when you're talking about player safety, and that is these athletes that are hurt. Now, Damar's case is a little bit different because that's not an injury that you like. Oh, he had an injury the week before, gets the rehab, and then gets hurt again. Right? That's a different scenario. But player safety in general, if they're hurt and they try to come back, no matter what that medical staff is saying, they're pounding the table to play. Justin Herbert broke ribs, had possibility for a punctured lung, etc., right? All messed up in his abdomen. Played through the rest of the game against the Chiefs. Right? That's a different level of commitment. Right? These are powerful, young, alpha men that want to play, period. Period. I mean, they're tough. That's why they're here. You know how many injuries they've probably endured and played through just to get to the NFL? To them, it's like, okay, it's this another week. Right? So I'm not naive to think that sometimes they are in the way of their own health. It is what it is. It is what it is. These are, like I said, powerful young men. Right? It's almost it's almost not even believable. Go ask former and current NFL players what they have personally and what they have witnessed other players put their body through just to get to Sunday. You almost wouldn't believe it as a normal person, the level of commitment and the level of toughness that they endure. Right? Two things can be true at once. One, the NFL could use this and should use this as a great pivot for player safety. Right? Have people upstairs. We already pay for what, like 10 officials? Maybe even more. Obviously, you have the ones in game. Then you have the ones on the sidelines, like alternates. And then you have the people upstairs looking for stuff. Is it crazy to put medical experts upstairs? Or maybe even a couple on the sideline? Say you add 6 medical personnel, 3 on the sideline, 3 upstairs. All they're looking for is injuries. I'm talking everything from your toe up to your head. Is it that bad of a decision? Oh, he planted wrong on his knee. He came up gimpy. Let's take him out for a play, get him checked out. If he needs to come out for longer, then he will. If not, send him back in. Same thing with a head injury. I think it also might be something to look into, an updated concussion protocol, but I'm not an expert. I'm not even going to speak on that, right? But these young men, no matter what these medical experts say, this is the second pointer. 2 things can be true. 1, should probably be a little more into player safety. 2, young men, they're gonna want to play, or they're gonna pound the table. Like I said, in DeMar's case, that's not the thing. It's not like he was rehabbing from an injury. That's a freak injury. That's not what I'm talking about here. But Tua, Devontae Parker, and probably a bunch of other cases that you haven't even heard of, because not swept under the rug, but because those guys played through pain. That's what they do as professional athletes. It's a complicated thing. We can sit here and say, oh, it's easy. You limp, you're gone, right? It's not that easy in real life, right? But I would like to close on this, to keep Damar Hamlin, his family, his teammates, everyone close to him in that situation in your thoughts, right? We obviously wish him and everybody involved the very best, and for him to get well soon. Right now, I think he's in critical condition but stabilized, which is good. But that's the most important thing. All this that we just talked about, it's just conjecture, it's just discussion. But in the grand scheme, it's minuscule, right? His health and the well-being of him, his teammates, his family, everybody involved, that's of utmost importance. I'm just sitting here talking into a mic, but that's what's important. I wanted to float a couple ideas in terms of player safety and give some perspective as to what some of these athletes think about and what they go through on a weekly basis and how we can alter it to make the game better and safer in the grand scheme.
Yeah, definitely all the thoughts and prayers with Damar Hamlin, his family, everybody close to him, the whole entire Buffalo Bills organization and the NFL as a whole. I think the shockwaves are felt through all 32 teams. You feel it everywhere.
Even the Bengals. I mean, imagine being T. Higgins.
Yeah, right.
He was the one who Damar Hamlin tackled. Like, people are saying, like, oh, he's probably going to blame himself, and he probably will.
And I'm sorry,
is crazy.
there are so many comments online that are attacking him. That's crazy. That is the worst thing that could possibly come from this. He was, that was.
He caught a pass.
It was a clean football play, right? It was something
we
we see every week, hundreds of times a week in the NFL. But overall, yes, I see 100% what you're saying there.
There's 2 sides to every coin.
A bigger roster, I think, would be a good step from that, right?
I think it's crazy.
So we're seeing increased injuries by the year, right? I'm sure there's a stat or a percentage that you could find of injuries going up almost exponentially every year.
Now, good news is head injuries are going down, which is good.
Because they're taking the proper protocol, though.
Right.
You put the right protocol in place. Most of the times, you'll see a benefit from it. It'll work for you. Just overall, it's a touchy situation because you run into the extremes of both sides with this one.
Right.
You run into the guys that are, no matter what happens, you should play, and this isn't tackle or this isn't two-hand touch, right? This is the NFL. We hit people, sure, and I agree with that. And I don't think that the chippiness of the game should be taken away because that's why football is so great.
It is great, right?
But you have to look at it from the other side, the other perspective, and gain that like. It's more than a game. It's more than a game.
Right.
These are players. These are their lives, and they have lives after football and away from football.
Right.
And fans need to respect that as well. And
it's a tough line to walk. We can sit
is.
here. It's really easy to sit here and say the easy thing, which is just If you're hurt even a little bit, sit out. But it's not that easy. There's money at stake. There's power at stake. These are powerful young athletes that want to play. So
they're always going to be pushing to play.
It was an unfortunate situation. Again, wishing him and everybody involved the very best. His family, of course. But let's move on to some slightly more positive stuff. Let's get into one of our favorite segments of the week here, hits and misses. All right, so let's go hit number one here. We've said for weeks, years, months, I don't know, whatever. The Kansas City is like a really, really good team.
Yeah, maybe the entirety of the show.
Right. Any given day that they are the best team in the NFL. But I will say, you go back a couple years, they've been shaky late season when it comes to blowing teams out. They let teams hang around a little bit. They play close football games down the stretch.
Yeah.
Happens every year before the playoffs. Now, playoffs are a different animal, and they're usually fantastic. But the Broncos plus 13.5 was like free money. It was like free money.
It was.
Right? Like we say, I like the Chiefs, but that's a lot of points for a divisional game. And the Broncos are starting to play a little bit better and off the firing of Hackett with an interim coach. Interim coaches always do a little bit better in their first game. The team plays a little more inspired. That to me was like free money.
Yeah, competition always rises when you bring that interim coach in. Plus, I mean, look, there's a reason we always mention Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid in September and October, right? We're like, well, it's Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes in September. You don't want to bet against them.
Right.
Oh, it's in October. You don't want to bet against. You get to November. You get to after Thanksgiving. Like Colin Cowherd, we talk about him a fair amount on this show. He always says there's like the season before Thanksgiving, after Thanksgiving, and then the postseason. And after Thanksgiving, the Chiefs seem to tail off a little bit, and they don't play the same. Like they don't play with that same edge that they do in September.
Could I pose a theory to you?
Yeah.
So in the beginning of the year, obviously, they're good. They're just fantastic. That's just good coaching, really good quarterback. That little second part, because they're good in the playoffs as well. That middle part, like that post-Thanksgiving to the end of the year, do you think they're hiding things for the playoffs? Because by the time they get post-Thanksgiving, they almost, unless they lose out, have a playoff spot locked up. Almost every year.
Yes.
Do you think they're hiding stuff? Do you think they're experimenting, trying to find what exactly works, what's going to be perfect for playoff time? Because then once they get to playoffs, they're always fantastic.
I don't think purposely hiding things, maybe, but I wouldn't put money on purposely hiding things. I would say maybe, like you said, working in some new things, experimenting, trying a couple new things that they want to see. It work the kinks out before you get to the postseason, and you have to win, right?
I don't think it's crazy.
I mean, it's definitely a theory because there's a noticeable drop in play.
Yeah, and
it's noticeable.
Here's the beauty of it, though: they still win almost all the games.
Oh, absolutely, because you have the best quarterback in the league.
All right, Mr. Number one here. Well, so I had Michigan and Ohio State winning. So let's start with the Michigan game. I thought, and I love Harbaugh. I thought they were completely outmatched from a coaching standpoint. 2 or 3 times on the goal line. First of all, a Philly special out of a timeout. What are you doing? A trick play is to catch people off guard. Out of a timeout? That's the most not off guard you're ever going to catch.
You just talked about it for 90 seconds.
Ever. You talked about it for 90 seconds. They talked about it for 90 seconds. Everybody came out and going, hey, they're probably going to run something weird. Like, 100%. And also, you're a power running team. Why? TCU has a really fast side-to-side defense. Why are you trying to stretch the defense? You have the power advantage in the middle. That's where you take it. You go up the middle, power O. And then they had another play where it was after that really long play that got turned over. They end up fumbling on the goal line. You're giving it to a fullback who has 9 carries on the year. That's probably why the exchange wasn't good between him and McCarthy. They've handed it off 9 times. 9 times. In the highest pressure game, you're going to give it to a guy who tried to carry the ball 9 times in the regular season.
Yeah.
That's asinine.
Yeah, I wouldn't hand the ball to him. Maybe throw him in there so he can go clear a hole and block.
Exactly.
But
power offense. They're trying to get too cute.
Look, it's the Big Ten. You know what you do well. You run the football and you play smash mouth football really well. They got completely away from their identity and they tried to do something that they
weren't.
And they tried to play to TCU's strength where they're like, we're going to play a spread, we're going to spread everything out, we're going to try to run speed, but that's not what they do well.
Dumb. And
like you said, it's a really bad matchup against the TCU defense. Right. All they do is they have really fast guys and they get to the perimeters really quick.
Really well. They play a 3-3-5, which is almost unheard of. So 3 down linemen, 3 backers, and a big cover shell of 5 DBs. So the way to hit them is up the middle, which is exactly Michigan's strength. And they didn't play to their own strength, which is crazy. And I picked Michigan because of that strength and because I thought they had the better coach. He got completely outcoached, which is embarrassing for him.
Hey, either way, that's a win for college football for this week.
That was.
Predictions.
But then Ohio State, they had it in the bag. So I've never seen a collapse like that, nonetheless, to a Stetson Bennett level quarterback. The whole entire game, and I saw online, Stetson Bennett, mic drop, 400 yards and 4 touchdowns. He looked like a significantly inferior quarterback to a guy who is a questionable dart throw of an NFL quarterback in C.J. Stroud. And I like him as a prospect, but he's a dart throw of a quarterback. I'm talking next level.
Yes.
And he completely outclassed Stetson Bennett, and you lost to Stetson Bennett. You lost to the worst quarterback.
Yeah, it was a game, I'll tell you that. It was interesting to watch. That was probably the best watch of the week. That game had zero dips in excitement. So, and it was cool. I picked Georgia. I saw them
I'll tell you
Ohio
what,
State.
The whole like Ryan Day started on third base type of thing, like that whole saying, like he had inherited a program started on third base, right, compared to Harbaugh, who built it almost from the ground up, right? Could not be more spot on. I thought it was awful coaching from both Harbaugh and Ryan Day. It was a bad look for both those teams. All right, hit number 2 here. I said the Jets and Robert Saleh are so ungodly overrated. I mean, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable how overrated they were. They won on the road with a significantly better roster than Seattle. Maybe not significantly, but a much better roster. They should have at least competed. They got thumped.
Yeah.
Couldn't even master a touchdown. That's laughable. Laughable. 2022, you have to be able to score.
Yes.
I think Saleh is probably, if he was a defensive coordinator, he'd be the best one in football. He's not a head coach. I've said it 1,000 times. He's not a head coach. You have to be able to do offense. Could not muster a touchdown against Seattle. Their defense is awful. It's awful.
It's really bad. And especially, like, against a team like Seattle. Are we serious? It's Seattle. Sure, they showed out a little bit this year, but you have a lot of hype around you, too. And the Jets haven't played bad football this year the entire time. Sure, Saleh might not be the best head coach. They haven't played good to great football, but they've played average. They've played good for the Jets, right?
Average
for their
or above
standards.
average, for sure.
They should be able to at least compete with the Seahawks. At least compete.
Yeah, that was bad. Especially with the season on the line, you have to win that to get to the playoffs. That's bad. All right, Mr. number 2 here. I loved Carson Wentz coming out and through the first 5 years of his career, right? Big, strong, can move, nice arm.
Oh, yeah.
But the accuracy in the decision-making is just poor. It's just not very good. And I'm sure he's going to continue to get jobs in the NFL, but I think his time as a starter is pretty much done.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty much over. I don't think he has the maturity to do it. I don't think he has the decision-making, the accuracy. It's not very good. And I loved him coming out. I think, like I said, big, strong, can move, nice arm. He's the prototype of what you want in a quarterback. But just he's not able to get it done. Period.
He's being welcomed now, I think, to the Teddy Bridgewater club.
Baker Mayfield.
Baker Mayfield, kind of just guys that bounce from team to team whenever there's a quarterback need, and they kind of need somebody to play, 3-4 weeks, sign into a little bit of a deal there. So,
all right, hit number 3 here. 4-1 on bets this week, baby. Where are all the people who are calling me a square, huh? Huh? It's weird. I didn't get any comments on this most recent bet thing. That's pretty odd, isn't it?
Yeah.
Nobody's saying, oh, that's actually pretty good bets. That's what I thought. I had one bad week, and people jump on me.
You're slowly losing your name as the fade god, so there you go.
Hey, we're positive on the year, all right? How many people were positive on the year, huh? That's what I thought.
Not a lot, not this year. Betting has been universally tough this year for the entire league.
Positive on the year. What's up? Nobody calling me a square.
I'm no square.
You're a square. All right, miss number 3 here. I'll admit it slightly that Hurts is definitely significantly better than Minshew, right? And I said, though, but the gap is not that big, which is true. The gap is smaller than, say, Mahomes to his backup, Allen to his backup, Herbert to his, etc., right? Mm-hmm. But Minshew's most likely not a starter, maybe low-end bridge. I was just saying it's interesting, the numbers, right? From a throwing perspective, they're not that different of quarterbacks. They don't run that offense that much different. And also, people are saying, well, did you see Minshew against the Saints? Missing his right tackle, missing a backup, missing a couple people here and there. Like, yeah, that's how it looks when you're a beat up, banged up team.
Yeah, he had
now,
pieces out.
Would Hurts have been better? 100%. I never said that I would take Minshew over Hurts. That was never the discussion. But if you're looking most valuable player, he does not provide the value that Mahomes, Allen, Herbert, even Burrow do.
Not even close.
It's a ridiculous discussion to even have, saying that he provides the same value as those players, because he does not. He's a very good quarterback. You're going to see we're near top 10 NFL quarterbacks. He is certainly in it, and he is right near a lot of really, really nice quarterbacks. Really nice quarterbacks. He's above a lot of people that would be viewed as a top 5 quarterback.
And coming into the season, we didn't think he'd be above some of these guys.
So we like Hurts. That's not the thing. But the value, the whole valuable player thing, Mahomes, Herbert, Burrow, Allen, all way more valuable. The gap between Minshew and Hurts is not the Grand Canyon like it is from Mahomes to like Chad Henne or something.
Right.
So, hits and misses. After what, week 17 of the NFL.
17, yeah.
Going into week 18 of the NFL. So, coming out of the break here, we'll have our top 10 NFL quarterbacks. We'll have the news following that, and then, of course, predictions and another discussion in the third segment, so don't go anywhere. All right, segment 2. Happy New Year, guys. It is, the 5th now of January? Oh, God, July. 5th of July, yeah.
Jumping
hey, by the way, we
couple
missed 6
months
months, yeah. 5th of January here. Happy New Year. If you just started listening, go back. We had a little rant. Not even a rant, more like a discussion on player safety and kind of sending our thoughts and stuff to Damar Hamlin's family, everybody involved. That was a good little discussion. Of course, we had hits and misses, like we always do. We're about to get into the top 10 NFL quarterbacks. Starts to get really important down the stretch. We know quarterback play is of utmost importance in this 2022 NFL football, not 2023 NFL football. And so that's why we always talk about quarterbacks. That's why it's a big discussion here, and that's why we're going to talk about it here with our top 10. We'll always obviously have news to follow, and then our predictions in the third segment, followed by another discussion on Derek Carr.
Will be good
to finish it up. So yeah, should be a good rest of the show here.
But let's get in. So we have our top 10 quarterbacks. Let's just jump right into that. We're not wasting time here on a Thursday.
We always start at 10 per usual. If this is your first time listening to one of our lists, we always start at 10. So number 10 here, let's go with Kirk Cousins. I know he had a bad week at Lambeau. Okay,
it was evident. Yeah.
Okay, since like week 12, that's one of the best defenses in football. Now I know if you look at the season-long stats, their defense is not really doesn't stack up numbers-wise. But in the last 5 or 6 weeks, that's a really, really good defense. At the end of the day, Kirk is 6th in touchdowns. He's 4th in yards. Now I know he's 16th in pass rating, but look, if you touchdowns, you produce yards. Look, people can hate on Kirk, and I know he's not perfect, but I think he's a really, really solid NFL quarterback. Look, would you take him over a lot of quarterbacks right now? Absolutely.
Yes.
If you're the Giants, if you're the Jets, if you're Houston, Washington, a lot of NFL teams would hire him and pick him up tomorrow for their starting quarterback job. Look, I know he's not Mahomes, Herbert, Burrow, right? I get that. But he's a damn good NFL quarterback.
He is. So you try to think of a comparison, and we've used this comparison with for him before when we would talk about quarterbacks, even back before we started the podcast.
Right.
You look at cars or in the automotives industry. You have the flashy ones, the flashy,
right.
The Ferrari, the Lambo, the Corvette, the Mustang GT, whatever you can get package on it. That's your Mahomes. That's your Josh Allen. But Kirk Cousins is going to be your Ford F-150. Very reliable.
Dependable.
Most of the time, he'll get you there.
Yeah.
And then every now and then he needs you need to take him to the shop. You get the belts tightened up, right?
Yeah.
But he's just a very, very reliable guy and usually does the right thing. Sure, we've seen him take a couple steps back here and there, but you can usually count on him, and that's enough to land you at 10 on this list, at least in this current climate.
Look, and before this recent game, the previous 3 games, he was averaging almost 400 yards, 3 touchdowns a game, and like a half a pick in the previous 3 games. So he's fine.
And he's usually statistically one of the better quarterbacks in the league.
Absolutely. So. And I know the statistics don't tell the whole story. He's got talent around him, but at the end of the day, he gets the job done a lot. So.
Yeah.
All right, number 9 here. Let's go with the person who just beat him, Aaron Rodgers. And I think the only reason that Aaron is higher is because, first of all, he's peaking at the right time, which is really, really important. We see this in all sports, right? The Nationals had a losing record at the All-Star break. They win the World Series, right?
Yeah.
Like the Bengals last year. Started out kind of rocky. Peaked at the right time. Joe Burrow peaked at the right time. That's how you propel yourself into the playoffs and make some noise in the playoffs, right? I think Aaron is starting to peak at the right time with an improved run game, with an improved defense, the emergence of Christian Watson. Mm-hmm. So I really like him moving forward. He's 7th in touchdowns. He's 14th in yards, 15th in pass rating. But like I said, he's getting better as the season's moved on. He's one of the most pure talent throwers in the game right now.
Yes. Christian Watson is a big piece of that, right? Because
absolutely.
We saw him really struggle to find that new number 1 guy, a target that he's comfortable with to throwing to.
Yeah.
So he finally kind of is getting that gel, that chemistry.
Right.
And plus, like you said, the defense playing better. You heard it in the post-game interview when they were asking him about it.
It takes a
ton of pressure off of them, especially when they can get those defensive points, flip a game. Because let's not forget, they started losing that game. Then it was a huge pick 6, I think it was. Turned it right around, gave Aaron the ball back, and the rest was history there.
Right.
And he's good enough, certainly good enough to be number 9.
Yeah. All right, another legend here at number 8. Let's go with Tom Brady. Look, 2nd in yards. He's 9th in touchdowns. I know he's 17th in pass rating. It's because the completion percentage has dipped a little bit. The offense was out of whack for the first. Well, it still is. I'm not sure it's back yet.
Well, receivers had a lot of drops too then.
Yes, right. He's starting again, like Aaron, to get a lot better down the stretch, which I think is important. And they're finally starting to get healthy. The offensive line's getting a little healthier. Their weapons are getting a little bit healthier. And they hadn't had a lot of snaps this season. I know that he's been there for a couple years now, but this season, with all the injuries, he hasn't had a full arsenal to work with all together. They're finally getting that cohesiveness. I know that, the secondary in Carolina was banged up. That's why he went off. That's great. But at the end of the day, he's second in yards. He's ninth in touchdowns. He produces. That's enough to land him at 8, especially because he's a legend.
Absolutely.
All right, number 9 here, Dak Prescott.
7.
I'm sorry, number 7. I was looking at it because he's 9th in pass rating.
No.
So, by the way, there you go. He's 9th in pass rating. He's tied for 13th in touchdowns. He's 18th in yards, but he did miss like 5 games. The only thing that worries me with him is picks. I think that's why he's not higher. But here's the thing with Dak that doesn't show up in the stats, and I think it shows up with the next quarterback on this list as well. The intangibles, right? Says the right thing at the podium. He's a good leader. I don't have to worry about Dak. Look, could he throw a couple picks? Yes. Is he going to throw really boneheaded like Dak, what are you doing type picks? Not really. Not really. It's because of his inaccuracy or maybe a tip ball here and there, but it's not like he's going to go lose you a lot of football games. Now, the Jacksonville games here and there, but the pick 6 to end it was dropped by his receiver. So the intangibles, I like Dak. He's big. He can move a little bit. Overall, he's pretty accurate. And he can make a lot of the easy throws, which I think is important. We can sit here and say, oh, but can he throw on the run sidearm? No. But can he stand in the pocket and deliver a nice 15-yard out route when you need it? Absolutely he can. I think that's important, and it's underlooked in the stats.
Yeah, another thing that's underlooked, like you said, are the intangibles. The ability to go and look and sound put together at the podium and be the face of a franchise. There are a lot of things that go into being an NFL quarterback, and playing quarterback, I would say, is like 50% of it. There's a ton of off-the-field stuff. There's a ton of leadership stuff. And Dak, it's never been a question mark with Dak in that category.
No.
It's the on-the-field flashiness. He's not as flashy. He won't give you those gigantic, crazy highlight reels that the NFL likes to show you on Instagram.
But he's a good, solid B+ quarterback.
Distribute the football where it needs to go.
He's a really, really solid B+ quarterback. I think he's Kirk Cousins, but moves a little bit better and is paid more.
That's a great comp. Yeah.
All right, number 6 here, Jalen Hurts. Look, he's number 3 in pass rating. He's tied for 13th in touchdowns. He's 13th in yards. But that's through the air. You look on the ground, he's number 1 in among quarterbacks in rushing touchdowns, and he's 3rd in yards behind only Justin Fields, who looks more like a running back this year than a quarterback. And I think Josh Allen is slightly ahead of him, Lamar is slightly ahead of him, which is kind of crazy considering the games Lamar's missed. But it goes to show that he does stand in there and throw. 3rd in pass rating. His completion percentage is good. And you got to credit a lot of this to offensive line, really, really nice wide receiver play. The emergence of A.J. Brown has been critical. And again, with him, I get the intangibles. Great leader. Fantastic leader. I'd build my organization around him tomorrow if the price tag wasn't super punitive because he moves and the injuries. I wouldn't pay him a fortune. But if you told me $35 million, I'd build my franchise around him tomorrow.
Yes.
I think he's got the leadership. He's clearly committed. I don't have to worry about off-the-field issues at all with Jalen Hurts. So I think that lands him at 6. I think it's a fair spot to put him because at the end of the day, you do have to play from the pocket to win at some point. People always want to say, well, what about Lamar and the MVP? And, well, Russell Wilson went to a Super Bowl and won one. Okay, but those guys are Russell is really, really good from the pocket, right? I know that Herbert can move. I know that Allen can move. I know that Mahomes can move. But they are their best with their arm. That's their number 1 weapon. I worry at points Jalen's number 1 weapon is his legs. He's developing, which is really, really promising. So I think 6 is fair.
And we've seen what happens to quarterbacks that solely rely on their legs.
Right.
And you've
he's
heard
pivoting away from that.
There are a lot of coaches now in the league saying, look, sure, if you have a running quarterback, great. We're going to knock him out of the game. We're going to knock him out of the game. It's so easy when you have a guy that relies on his legs and then has to drop back still 40 times, even though that's not his strength.
Right.
So, yeah.
It's not
Jalen Hurts
super sustainable.
No, it isn't. It's a very one-sided game.
I like the strides he's making in his passing game. It's certainly what you want to see from a young quarterback, so Jalen 6. Let's go Trevor Lawrence at 5. Look, since week 9, he's the best quarterback statistically.
He is playing fantastic.
Yeah, 15 touchdowns, 2 picks, 106 pass rating, number 1 in the NFL. He's 10th overall in pass rating, 9th in touchdowns, 9th in yards. That's what your franchise quarterback should look like. Yeah. Big, strong, moves, good leader. That's exactly what you want in a quarterback. He just needs to start doing it more consistently. That's how he would move up on the list. But 5 feels about right considering the people above him are freaks.
And it feels so good to finally see him do well.
100%. He's so easy to root for.
You were waiting for him and waiting for it to pop and waiting for it to click. And now it seems to finally have taken. Yeah. And he's gonna be a really special talent. I wouldn't be shocked to see him like near the top 1 to 3 of this list in the next I'd say season to 2 seasons.
Yeah. I think he could leapfrog this next guy, which I like, and it's number 4, Justin Herbert. I like Herbert, but he can tend to be a little bit overvalued. I think a lot of what has him at 4 is the fact that he has overcome cluster injuries at wide receiver, cluster injuries on the offensive line, and he's still 3rd in yards. He's 12th in touchdowns. He's 14th in pass rating. But again, the injuries have been awful on this football team, and he's carried them to the playoffs.
Yeah.
I don't even like his coach. His defense is severely underwhelming. Like I said, cluster injuries on the line at wide receiver. The talent is undeniable with Herbert, though. 6'6", big arm, moves, like 4.0 biology student in college. Like, totally has the brains to pick up an offense, adjust on the fly. And one thing that I think is really, really important, he's top 3 in fourth quarter pass rating. When it matters most, that dude is that dude, right?
Right.
Like that throw on the run down the sidelines to Mike Williams against, who was that, is that Tennessee? Yeah, it was Tennessee.
It was.
Absolutely ridiculous. That's a ridiculous throw. Like, nobody in the league, maybe Josh Allen, but I don't even think Josh is accurate enough to make that throw down the field like that. He's getting there. He's got the strong arm, but that was a pinpoint laser beam. I've never seen anything like it.
It was insane. Yeah, we showed that highlight in the episode where you were talking about it. It's
ridiculous.
He is
it's a once in a generation player.
One of the most talented guys in the league, for sure.
Number 3 here, Josh Allen. Look, he's like 20 yards away from being the leading rusher.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you can't see it now. I mean,
yeah, he's tied for 3rd in rushing touchdowns for quarterbacks. He's 7th in passing yards, 3rd in passing touchdowns. He's 8th in passer rating.
Some may call him the Winter Soldier.
Hey, relax now, all right? No, some may. We may, huh?
Yeah.
Look, he just gets it done. Big arm, moves. And here, another thing, I like the intangibles. He's clearly a leader. Buffalo rallies around him. That's their guy. The team, the fans, everybody has faith in Josh Allen. Now, I do worry a little bit going forward, because whether this is fair or not, it reflects on him, how well the team can build around him. They still have not developed a really good offensive line yet. In 4 or 5 years, have not developed a good offensive line. Still have not developed a good running game. I still worry about their defense on the back end in spurts. So I don't worry about Josh Allen. I worry about, can they get him a running game so he's actually playing complementary football? We'll see. But the talent and the quarterback himself, he's 3rd in the league easily.
Yes.
If not higher. But number 2 is Joe Burrow here. 6th in pass rating, 2nd in touchdowns, 5th in yards. Here's the thing. Best quarterback on 3rd down. Best quarterback in the red zone. Best quarterback, one of the best quarterbacks in the fourth quarter in terms of touchdowns. The critical downs. Is there anybody better situationally than Joe Burrow and the Bengals?
I don't think so, because he is so methodical about the way that he scans and picks receivers and distributes the football. Very smart. Very Brady-esque.
I was just going to say, does it not remind you of Prime Brady? Where
it does.
It's so frustrating to play him because it's nothing flashy.
Yeah.
It's not, hey, I'm going to roll left, throw sidearm around 3 guys like Mahomes does. It's, no, I know exactly what you're trying to do, but I'm just going to do it better because I'm better than you.
Yeah. And
it's so frustrating.
I mean, the defense, it's so hard to find an answer because, sure, play the DBs back, take away the deep ball. That's fine. He'll throw 4 or 5 yard gains every single throw. He doesn't care.
And because he's got the talent where they're going to stretch it into 25 yards.
Mixon will pick up 5.
Yeah.
Joe Burrow will throw for 5 or 6, and they'll just slowly march their way down the field. Or you can play him in press, and then Jamar Chase is going to absolutely just boat race your DB down the sideline, and it's going to be like a 75-yard touchdown. Right. So it's really, really hard to defend him, and I think the leadership, again, we talk about leadership, it's unbelievable. Again. Yeah. I mean, it's just on another level than Dak. We say Dak was good.
Joe
Burrow is better. And Joe Burrow has, I feel like, more of a confidence, more of a swagger that people like, and that chip on the shoulder.
Yeah, that comes through in the big moments. That poise, that's why he's good on 3rd down. That's why he's good in the red zone. That's why he's good on 4th down, right? Best in the pocket against pressure, right? That's why he's that guy. And then number 1, it's not even really a debate, especially if you look into the stats and you watch the games. Number 1, Patrick Mahomes. He's 2nd in passer rating, 1st in touchdowns, 1st in yards.
If you say he's not the number 1 quarterback, I'm sorry, I can't help you.
I can't help you. I really can't. Like, he's first in almost every category you want to, and he's 2nd in passer rating. Ooh. Like, and 2 is above him, and that number is inflated because of completion percentage. Like, Mahomes is that guy. Completely rebuilt the offensive line. He makes it work. Hey, we're going to ship off your best receiver, bring in a bunch of new guys. That's fine, I'll make it work. Like, unbelievable. Has never had a solid run game. That's okay.
Has never had a solid defense either.
Doesn't need it. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. And again, you talk about the leadership. I will say the league is in very good hands. You look at literally the top 10. Like, there's no problems whatsoever. Mahomes, great at a podium. Joe Burrow, great at a podium. Allen, Herbert, Lawrence, Hurts. Like, they're all just, the intangibles are off the charts.
There's reasons you don't see the last name Mayfield on here and others like that.
So now, granted, I wouldn't start my franchise with Tom, Aaron, or Kirk now because of their age and they're a little bit limited physically. But the top 7
Easily.
Look, no, would I prefer Mahomes over Dak? Absolutely. But if you told me, hey, sorry, like, you're going to start your franchise with Dak, I'd be like, okay.
And, oh, no, if I had to start my franchise with an aging Tom Brady, I guess I could swallow that one. I mean, come on.
Like Dak's Dak's a really, really solid NFL quarterback. Same with all of them. So the league's in really good hands. Patrick at 1, Burrow at 2, Josh Allen at 3, while Herbert at 4, Trevor Lawrence at 5, Jalen Hurts at 6, Dak Prescott at 7, Tom at 8, A-Rod at 9, and at number 10, Kirk Cousins, rounding out the top 10 NFL quarterbacks heading into Week 18 in the NFL season. Yeah,
a lot to go over from last week, basically through all sports. So let's get into the news. Let's get going with that.
All right, my good sir. Story number 1 here. Colts head coach Jeff Saturday, not happy. Called it, I'll get to his quote here in a second. He's ripping the Giants' edge rusher, Kayvon Thibodeau, for his snow angel celebration after a sack. He kind of sacked Nick Foles, rolled over. Didn't realize Nick Foles was hurt. Did a little celebration, snow angel. Saturday called it disgusting and I don't know. He was upset about it.
Yeah.
I don't know. What are your thoughts? Do you think he's overreacting a little bit?
Look, if in the heat of the moment like that, you're just excited you made a good play.
And Thibodeau said he didn't see it.
And we've seen it before. It's hard to even tell from just a fan's perspective when you're actually even watching all of the players that somebody gets hurt, right? It takes a couple seconds till they click in and they go, oh, he's not getting up. So, look, come on. It's a competitive game. Everybody's out there playing with fire, playing with an edge. And when you record a sack, by all means, celebrate a little bit. And you didn't realize he was hurt. So it's not like you saw him hurt and then clowned him as he was hurt.
He said tasteless and trash.
I don't know about that.
Look,
just because Jeff Saturday plays a very old school way of football, like he does. It's very traditional, very
Is it not ideal that he was hurt and he did it next to him? Sure, I can admit that.
Yeah, the situation wasn't good.
But I mean, it is what it is. It's football, and at the end of the day, he said he didn't really realize he was hurt. If you look at the film, it's not like he looked at him and then did it, right? Like you could tell that he didn't look to see if he was hurt.
Yeah.
Kind of just rolled over, did a little celebration, right? He's a rookie who's playing really well down the stretch for a team who's we're competing for a playoff spot, clinched a playoff spot. That's exciting for a young guy.
Yeah. And I mean, come on now. When TJ Watt makes a sack, he doesn't look back to see if the quarterback's okay first. He
gets up he's selling.
Hits it.
Yeah.
Fantastic. I'm so for.
I think it was a little bit of an overreaction. But I will say, I like Saturday standing up for his guys, though.
I do, yeah.
If I was a coach,
culture and having their back, yeah.
Whether you agree with them or not, which I tend to disagree with them a little bit, but at the end of the day, I think it's good for the locker room that he's saying that.
I think so.
I don't think it's crazy that he's saying it. I just disagree. All right, story number 2. Obviously, although DeMar Hamlin's news last night, on Monday, and his health is of the utmost importance. Donovan Mitchell, though, broke the Cavs' franchise record with 71 points on Monday night. That's a big-time performance for a big-time player. So I will say this, whenever he was traded there, I said I think it certainly makes the Cavs interesting. I think it makes them a top 6 team in the East. They're the fourth seed right now. I don't follow it too close. I think they're the 4th or 5th seed right now. He's a really, really nice player. They have a really nice young core in Cleveland. Do I see them being a championship team? No, but Donovan Mitchell, wildly athletic.
Yeah.
He can get very, very vertical. Really nice mid-range. Not a super good long-range shooter, but overall, really nice player. Good for him. 71 points. Another thing that I thought about when I saw it, you're telling me LeBron never scored 71 in his time there?
I guess not.
Or Kyrie, who was a big scorer?
I guess not.
I guess not.
That was a little bit surprising to me too.
That is a lot of points. So I'm not saying LeBron, you're trash. We're not scoring 71. That's a lot.
You've never scored 71 points.
That's a once in a lifetime, event.
Sure.
And a once in a franchise event. So I'm not saying that it's crazy that LeBron hasn't scored. I just figured he would have because he's that good.
Yeah, I thought he would have held on to that record, but. I mean, 71 points in a basketball game is...
That's impressive. That's impressive. So actually, a little tangent here. When Kobe scored the 81 points, right? That was so long ago. That was early 2000s. It was the only game that his grandma ever went to go see him in person, and he scored 81. I wonder if Donovan has a cool story about his 71. Either way, moving on here. Story number 3. Back to the Giants here. Rumor on the street is that they are actually planning to offer, quote, multi-year extensions to both Saquon Barkley and Daniel Jones after clinching the playoffs. Obviously, Saquon, the running back, a little bit injury-prone in the past couple of years. Daniel Jones has been underwhelming. This year, he's been really, really nice. Not fantastic, but he's been a nice, solid NFL quarterback. Is it a good call or a bad call?
I don't know. I'm so in between on Daniel Jones because I'm not sure what to think. We see him have a pretty good start to the season, right? And then fall dramatically and then kind of pick it back up and try to hover a little bit. I'm not convinced if he's like going to be the guy that you want to go with and stick with, you know?
I don't think he is.
I don't see him. I mean,
but
when you have so much talent that's coming up, I say you have to go draft somebody. You have to get somebody at least in the system, even if you start Daniel next year.
I will say this, though. They're in a tough spot, right? So they're going to be one of the, not worst playoff teams, but like in terms of record, they're going to fall in the draft somewhere around the 20s. Right?
Yeah.
Like high teens, early 20s. That's probably not a great spot to draft a quarterback. Now, granted, if you go get one third or fourth round, I would support that decision. But if you said Daniel Jones, 3 years, $90 million, would you do it?
No.
It's only $30 million a year for a quarterback.
I don't know. I don't know if he's worth $30 million though.
Okay, what about 3 years, 75? $25 million a year.
If they could somehow work it so it's lesser.
What if they had an opt out after the second year?
Yeah, I would do that.
3 years.
3 years with the second year opt out.
Okay, what if he came back 3 years? Because if it was only $25 million, I don't think he'd like the opt out. 3 years, $80 million with an opt out after the second year. Would you take it? I'd probably take it.
I would take that.
I'd probably take it. $25 million right now, or whatever that would be, like $26.5 million for a quarterback right now is not bad.
No, it isn't. But I'm just not sure what his worth is. Like, I am so confused on what to think of him.
I agree. But at the end of the day, you're not in a good spot to draft a franchise-altering quarterback right now, or else not one that we perceive to be right now.
Yeah. So I mean, you are in a bit of a pinch.
Maybe get one third, fourth round, take a gamble, start him a couple games here and there.
You could.
Daniel's your quarterback for the next 2-3 years. You're certainly a competent
Almost
team.
like a Jimmy G situation where you kind of keep him around. And
I will say this about Daniel. Doesn't get hurt a lot. Is starting to protect the football a lot more, which was a big problem for him. And he moves pretty well. I will say, from a prototype standpoint, he's what I want in my quarterback in 2023.
I just worry about the
strong
picks.
moves.
I worry about the decision making.
I agree, but Brian Daboll has kind of put the reins back on him. I'm not advocating for Daniel Jones, but people want to make it either good, bad, black, or white. There's a lot of gray area with these quarterbacks.
Plus, this is just the first year that we've seen Daniel Jones under Brian Daboll, right? So, like,
yeah, right.
There's going to be a little bit of a growth period there.
You're going to hate me. Call me crazy. If Daniel Jones plays at this level for a couple years and Kyler Murray keeps being up and down, who would you rather have? It's crazy. Well, actually, I'm not even going to say in a couple years. I'm going to make you decide right now. Daniel Jones or Kyler Murray?
Right now?
Kyler, but is the gap that big?
Right now,
Daniel's available.
Right now, Kyler, but I'm worried about injuries with Kyler.
Daniel's available. Kyler's not. I think Daniel's a little more mature. Kyler's not. Daniel's a bigger, stronger, thicker athlete.
But this also puts in perspective. This puts in perspective Kyler Murray and not being.
No, I'm not saying. I'm not saying I would. I would probably go with Kyler because I think he's significantly more talented. I think he can do things on the field that nobody else can do. But
it's interesting.
But people want to make it black or white. It's not. There's a lot of gray area with these quarterbacks and contracts.
Yes.
Same thing with Saquon. He's the heartbeat of the team, but he gets hurt a lot. What's his price tag? If his price tag comes back to $15 million a year, I'd think about it. If it's 20, 25, I can't pay him that money. Which you'd never pay a running back that money. But
no.
If it's closer to 10,
yeah, we've seen
call
that
me.
with Zeke.
If it's 17, I'm out.
Oh god, yeah, because I always worry about paying the running backs a big total because that's
especially when they've already been hurt. Especially when they've already been hurt.
Yes.
I know when he's healthy, he's electric, but he's only been healthy 2 out of 4 years.
Yeah, and I mean, look at the decline we saw with Zeke, and now they're stuck in cap hell there in Dallas. So
people want to make it easy with Daniel Jones. It's not an easy decision to make.
It isn't, and
I mean personally,
look,
like I said, I'm
the
out.
Kyler comparison there is interesting to look at, and
because one is so thought of as so much more talented, which Kyler I think is
flashy, and he is more talented from a talent standpoint. But there's other things that go into it.
There's
other things that go into it,
and clearly Daniel Jones works to some degree in Daboll's system.
I don't know. Comment below and tell us what you think.
All right, story number 4. Obviously, Derek Carr was benched. I don't love the move. I mean, I will say though, Stidham looked okay. He looked pretty good. Look, Derek Carr had a bad year. It is what it is. It's like his 6th coach. But this does. I think they're going to move off him. I think that's pretty clear now. Where do you see him ending up? Maybe we're going to play. We're going to do a little discussion on this to end the show at the end of the 3rd segment here. But Just throwing out a name. The Colts.
I was gonna say Colts. I could see Houston maybe wanting to move off Davis Mills. I could see. Oh.
What about Washington? What about either, say, Daniel Jones?
The Commanders.
Say they don't want Daniel Jones. Say they can't agree on a number.
Derek Carr to New York has a little.
Or what about the Jets? There's a lot of teams.
Derek Carr to New York.
The same New York, right? Jets or Giants, right? It's interesting. It's interesting to see.
Or even Carolina. If they're done with Sam Darnold.
Carolina's an interesting one, too.
Sam Darnold would be, it'd be an upgrade to take Derek Carr over Sam Darnold.
100%. It's not even close.
So
it's not even, that's laughable.
And then anywhere in the NFC South. Because
I think
most likely Brady's going to be gone.
I don't know if he retires, but I know he's not playing for Tampa next year.
And I know the Saints would probably love to have a quarterback other than Andy Dalton, and I think the Falcons would.
I think the Falcons might draft a quarterback. I don't think they're going with Desmond Ridder.
Probably not. Maybe even Tennessee, based on
CJ Stroud,
because Malik Willis doesn't look great either.
It's interesting. It's interesting.
Either way, that's going to be. I think he might be like a top free agent, other than Brady, because Brady's obviously going to get all the news and the press and the media all over his free agency.
It's going to be
when he does leave, which I'm suspecting.
I agree.
But I think outside of Brady, Derek Carr is going to probably be the biggest name free agent.
That's fair. All right, that's all we got for the second segment here. Let's get into our predictions here at the start of the third segment, and then, of course, we will have a little discussion more on the Derek Carr situation, so don't go anywhere.
Here we go in the third segment of The Issue on Thursday, January 5th. Our last week of regular season NFL predictions. It'll be good. Week 18 coming up. Kind of crazy that we're at the end now. I feel like we just started. Big divisional weekend. A lot of big games. Kind of the last deciding factor for some of those fringe teams that are still in the hunt. I.e. the Pittsburgh Steelers. They need a win. They need the Jets to.
They're just to win.
They need the Jets to win.
to beat the Dolphins, and they need to win themselves.
So it should be an interesting week for, I guess, not the smaller teams, but just those teams on the edge, those teams that are still in the hunt, and then obviously teams getting prepared for the playoffs and getting ready to go full force into the NFL postseason, which, of course, we will keep you covered through the whole thing. So make sure you're going to theissuesports.com. Sign up for that newsletter. It comes out weekly on Wednesdays, the day before the episode. You get a preview of the episode, a little column, a little team to watch, and some coupons to come for our online store that will be dropping relatively very soon. And you will hear more about that next week, and we'll preview some of that. But first, let's get into these predictions for Week 18 of the NFL.
I'll start with the Chiefs and Raiders. I think we're going to take the Chiefs here, even on the road. I think the Raiders are going to go ahead and start Jarrett Stidham. I think he played very, very well first week, but I don't think that's a super repeatable performance. Like, backups can come in and play well.
Yeah.
And they do often. But to do that consistently, I don't see him out-dueling Mahomes. I'll take the Chiefs. I don't think they plan to rest anybody. So, yeah, I'll take the Chiefs.
Yeah, I'll go Chiefs as well. It's just, if the Raiders haven't been able to do it all year, what makes you think they're going to be able to do it in the last week of the NFL season against the best quarterback in the NFL?
They find ways to lose, and that's not a mark of a good team, so I'll take the Chiefs.
Especially against Mahomes.
Yeah. All right, Titans at the Jags. I think if the Titans win, they actually reclaim the division spot. I think the Jags win, though. I don't think it's all that close. They're going to go ahead and start Josh Dobbs. The Titans are at quarterback.
Yeah.
Don't love that. I'll take the better quarterback, the better overall roster, especially offensively.
Yes.
Coaching is here. There, I think Doug Peterson is a really good coach. So, I'll go ahead and take the Jags.
I like the Jags too. They've been playing a really good brand of football recently, and Trevor Lawrence is kind of stepping into his own as an NFL quarterback, and we're starting to see that transition now. So, I mean, it's a team that has momentum. It's a team that I want to be on their side this week. Right. I'm going to go Jags.
Right. All right, I'll go ahead and take I'll take the Jags as well. All right, Jets at Dolphins. You're going to go ahead and take the Dolphins. I got to pull for the Jets here. Just for my own sanity, I need to be able to root for the Jets and then root for the Steelers, of course, so they can get in. So I'll go ahead and pull for the Jets. You're going to go ahead and take the Dolphins because, I don't know, you hate Pittsburgh or something. Or I guess you're just being honest about it. Ooh, whatever. Kudos for honesty here.
I'm
Great.
keeping
That's
the
great.
realism. I'm keeping the realism. I just think, at this point, the Dolphins have more pieces. I like Mike McDaniel over Robert Saleh.
I won't deny that.
I'm trying to be the voice of reason here. As much as I would love to take the Jets and love to take the Steelers, we'll get to that game. But in this spot, I would love to see the Jets win. I would love to see the Steelers make the playoffs. And I hope I'm wrong. But if I'm in the business of being right, which I am, and I'm, to be honest, trying to salvage a win still, right? It looks better to lose by 3 than 4.
I'll bet you drink Bud Light Orange, don't you?
I do not.
I'll bet you. That's a pick from somebody that drinks Bud Light Orange.
Straight Miller. Straight
Awful.
Miller time.
You're an awful guy. Can't even tell you right now. All right, Panthers at the Saints. We're both going to take the Saints at home. I think the defense has been playing well. They shut down a Philly team, and people want to bang on Minshew. That's still a really good Eagles offense.
Yeah.
And the Saints were able to shut them down on the road. So I like the Saints coming back home in a dome against who? Sam Darnold. Come on.
Yeah, I like Saints here too.
Yeah.
There's nothing that leads me to pick the Panthers. No run game, no weapons. You have Sam Darnold at quarterback.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot that went wrong in that situation.
All right, Bucks at the Falcons. The Falcons are actually favored by 4. That's kind of crazy.
Kind of blows my mind.
We both talked about how we would take late season Brady.
Yeah.
So we're going to go ahead and take late season Brady here. Take the Bucks over the Falcons on the road. Look, defense is starting to play a little bit better. Offense might start to click a little bit more. We'll see. Maybe they can build off that last game. I'll take Brady, like you said, late game Brady.
Yep.
Or late season Brady. Vikings at the Bears. Vikings are a better football team.
Yeah, that's easy Minnesota, right?
And I'm not saying that they have a lot to play for, but they can at least solidify the 2 seed if they win. So they have at least something to play for. Chicago has nothing to play for
And
anymore.
plus, it's your division rivals, the Bears. I mean, they're going to want to go in there and kind of
thump
kick
them
them
on the
around
road,
a little bit. And I like the Vikings. And we talked about what kind of guy Kirk Cousins is and what level of quarterback he can play. So I like the Vikings over the Bears, over an unproven Justin Fields and a Bears roster. So
Right. All right, the Browns at the Steelers. We both take the Steelers. KP8 at home. I love that.
Kenny
love
Two Gloves.
That. Kenny Two Gloves at home against the Browns. Deshaun has been relatively discombobulated, I would say, since returning.
Relatively, very much so.
Yeah, he hasn't been. He hasn't looked very good. Right, he hasn't looked very good. I think the front 7 for the Steelers is going to get after him a little bit.
They better.
Force him into a couple picks. I do worry, though, against running quarterbacks. We tend to have a little bit of an issue, but I think we'll be okay. I think we bottle up Deshaun a little bit. Steelers win by a touchdown.
Hey, Steelers have played Lamar and the Ravens pretty well
That's true.
The last couple of years and held him to not too much. When you have a guy like TJ on the edge, and plus this last week, I know he did a whole interview thing, and they were even talking during the game about how he's just now starting to feel better.
Right.
Like those weeks coming back were almost like
tore his
OTAs
pec.
and minicamp.
Tore his pec.
Yeah, so it's going to take a little bit of time to get over, and he's starting to get back to that level, right? We saw him get a bunch of QB pressures. He had a sack. He almost had a strip on that sack.
Right.
So against Deshaun, who's been out of the league for 2 years and hasn't seen a pass rush like Pittsburgh yet, and Cam Hayward breathing down his neck. Yep. Good luck, Steelers.
I agree. Patriots traveling north to meet the Bills. Now we're not sure, the status of this game yet, but nonetheless we're going to predict it just in case if they end up playing this game and moving the Bengals and Bills till after, till maybe a Week 19 game. I don't know how they're going to go about it. But nonetheless, we're going to predict this game as if it's going to be normal and then adjust from there. So, Patriots at Bills, I'll take the Bills. They're a better football team. And you hate to use it as an excuse, but they are going to play inspired football next time they step on the field.
Yes,
That's just a fact.
As they should.
Because they're good teammates, they're good friends. That's
their
their brother. You know what I mean?
You saw the emotion clearly from all the players, all the coaches, everybody on that field. You know they want to come out and get a win there.
Right. So if they end up playing that game next Sunday, I think they will come out with a fire, and they'll beat the Patriots.
I 100% agree.
Similarly here with the Bengals hosting the Ravens. Again, not sure what happens there, but I'll take the Bengals at home. I think Joe Burrow's a better quarterback. I don't think Lamar's going to play, so I get a better quarterback. I get a better roster, definitely weapons-wise. Defense is about equal, but I get a better offense in an offensive league. I'll take the Bengals.
Yeah, Bengals, they just have that. They have that. It's such a mojo when they get to that end of the season, and it's Jamar Chase, and it's you got T. Higgins, you got Tyler Boyd, and Joe Burrow's just distributing the football
Joe
to
Mixon,
everybody.
Samaje Perine, two good
just
backs,
pounding the other team into the dirt. So I'll take Bengals. I don't see the Ravens really putting up too much of a fight here.
All right, let's go Texans at the Colts. You'll take the Colts. Look, I actually think the Texans have been playing really, really well outside of last game. They've been playing really well for the last month or so. I'll ride with the Texans. I don't think the Colts have any momentum going right now. I don't even know who's going to start a quarterback for them. At least I have some semblance of stability with the Texans.
Yeah.
So I'll take them over the Colts. I don't feel good about the pick. It just is what it is at this point.
I don't either. These teams both don't have any momentum as it is. So, I mean, yeah, I'll go with the Colts. You have Matt Ryan, who this year has been absolutely horrific, but he has an upside.
Is he even going to play?
Does he have an upside?
Because it was Nick Foles. Then he got hurt. Then it was Sam Ellinger.
Yeah, so who do you roll out there? I don't know.
Exactly,
I'll take the Colts. I mean, it's whoever against Davis Mills.
I'll tell you what. They have a better roster, so that's something to look at.
Something to pray for, yeah.
Yeah. All right, Cowboys at Commanders. We'll both take the both take the Cowboys.
I was gonna say we will not both take the Commanders.
Hey, not me. No, Cowboys. Yeah, Cowboys are a better team, better quarterback, better roster. I think right now a better coach. I don't even love McCarthy. With the Commanders, I don't know who they're starting at quarterback. I don't love who they're starting at quarterback, regardless of who it is. Cowboys are a better team.
Yeah, Cowboys. The Commanders have not been able to kind of find their way. They had some sort of a pace going last year. I thought that they were going to be able to build something this year. Hasn't come to fruition yet. Maybe a couple more years down the line.
We'll see. I think they need a new coach. I don't like Ron Rivera at all.
Not in this game.
All right, Rams at the Seahawks. Our last split here. You actually like the Rams as an underdog going on the road to Seattle. I'll take Seattle. When they have a running game, they're a really, really nice football team. And they have Kenneth Walker back. He's healthy. So I'll go Seattle. I don't love the pick because Seattle tends to do Seattle things like it's Geno Smith. But I'll take Seattle. You'll take the Rams. Why?
I'm trusting Baker to capitalize on at least a couple big plays.
There you go. Baker Mayfield. See, we like Baker. Look, we're fair on this show.
We have always said that he is a pretty good quarterback. He can make some big-time throws. Absolutely. He's a gamer. He's chippy, and he's very, very competitive. But the problems lie in the off-the-field stuff. So far in LA, he has surprised me a bit, and he's been able to stay out of most of that.
That's good. That's good.
So at least the talent takes over a little bit, because I don't like Seattle.
Yeah, that's fair.
I don't know. I like the Rams
fair
here.
Take. Cardinals at the Niners. We're both going to take the Niners here. Better roster, better quarterback, better coach. Period.
Yeah, that's it. And
they're better from top to bottom. Better owner, better front office. Better coach, better quarterback.
And that defense is insanely better defense. Intimidating.
I mean, they're better at every single level.
No matter how you measure a football team.
Yeah. Chargers at the Broncos, same thing here. I'll take the Chargers. They are also better at every single level, and I don't even love their coach. So, Chargers are a much better football team.
Yeah, you're telling me Ross is going to beat Jay Herb this week? That's not going to happen.
No. All right, let's go with the Giants at the Eagles. We're going to take the Eagles at home, but that's a lot of points. It's 14. The Eagles are getting 14 points.
So we have to have in bets on the budget the Giants covering that.
Yeah, check out the TikTok for bets on a budget. Also check out the newsletter for a couple little lines thrown in there.
Yeah. Because that's absurd.
14 points to the Giants, to a competitive Giants team is crazy.
Look, I like the Eagles, but
not that. The Giants have a good front four. They have a good offensive line, good running back. Well, not great, not good offensive line, but decent line, good running game, clever offensive coach.
Dude, 14.5 is a line that you look at in a college game and go, eesh, I don't even know here.
Strong pass.
That's saying something.
Lions at the Packers. I'll take the Packers at home in Lambeau, prime time. Do I trust Jared Goff prime time in Lambeau to get it done? I don't.
No
I trust Aaron to get it done there, so I'll take the Packers.
We saw what happened in Minnesota when they went into Lambeau this last week, and that wasn't pretty.
Not pretty. And actually, Kirk Cousins historically has played pretty well at Lambeau, and he lost it.
Yeah, I don't like that. I'll go Packers.
All right, well, that's it for our predictions. We're split on. You like the Rams, I'll take the Seahawks. You like the Colts, I'll take the Texans. You like the Dolphins, I'll take the Jets. Pulling for the Pittsburgh Steelers to get into the playoffs. We'll see how it goes. They have to win. That's the first order of business. But let's pivot here to Derek Carr. So Derek Carr got benched. For those who don't know, I'm a big Derek Carr supporter. Have been for years. I think, I'm not saying he's a top 5 type of guy. But I'm telling you, he's a really solid NFL quarterback, right? He's more towards top 12 than he is top 5. But he's certainly he's a top 12 guy. Look, so you think it's crazy, right? I know he's had a bad year. He got benched, right? He's already at 35,000 career yards. Only 33 NFL quarterbacks have done that, ever, in the history of the league. He's already got 217 touchdowns. Only 36 players in the league have more, quarterback-wise. Really, his career average for a season, right? 3,900 yards, 25 touchdowns, 11 picks, a 92 pass rating. Now, he's only 31 years old. If he can even do it for 3 more years, he'll have thrown for over 45,000 yards. 45,000. That'd be something only 16 NFL quarterbacks have ever done in their career. 16. 16. Like, put that into perspective, please. Right? How about 5 more years on that pace? Which Derek's 31. I think 5 more years is doable. I don't expect 5 more years at that pace. But 5 more years, right? He'd be nearing 50,000 yards. Maybe over 50,000 yards. Which is going to be good for anywhere between 12th and 13th best of all time. Come on. Like, wake up. How about that? After 3 years at that pace for touchdowns, he'd be at 290 touchdowns. Again, only 16 guys all time would have more. So we would sit here and mess around. Oh, but he throws some picks. Okay, here's what I'm looking at. Production. More yards, more touchdowns. Right, how about after 5 years at that pace for touchdowns? He'd be at 340. Only 11 people would have more. In the history of football, in the history of the quarterback position, only 11 people would have more. Oh, let's not even mention that Derek Carr has had the 32nd ranked defense since he's come into the league. 32nd. Oh, also, not to mention, since he started, Pro Football Focus has labeled the offensive line as, quote, bottom tier. Bottom tier. They traded away his best receiver, Amari Cooper, traded his best edge rusher, Khalil Mack, and has replaced them with a nobody. Now, Devontae Adams. And he had a really good year with Devontae. Well, made Devontae have a good year. Right, so let's be honest about Derek. I'm not saying he's Patrick Mahomes or Joe Burrow, right? I'm not saying he's Justin Herbert. He's a really, really solid NFL quarterback. You're going to turn around in 4 or 5 years, when he eventually retires, probably about 5 or 6 maybe, and be like, oh, I actually forgot he was like that good. I forgot he had that good of a career. So he had a tough year. Okay. Like that happens when you're on, I don't know what, your 6th coach? When you have the poorest owner in the league? When you have to move your franchise? Completely uproot it? When your wide receiver kills an innocent civilian? When your top DB pulls out a gun on social media? And you just, that's fine, we'll just drag the entire team to the playoffs. Like, it's laughable the hate that he gets. I don't understand it. Mark my words, you'll turn around in 4 or 5 years, maybe 6 if you can stretch it out, and be like, wow, it's actually a marvel that Derek Carr has this good of numbers. He's a pretty good quarterback. Pretty good quarterback, especially when it counts. Down the stretch, 4th quarter, 3rd down, very, very solid NFL quarterback. Again, not saying he's top 5 or top 10. Top 12, absolutely. Absolutely. And over the last 10 years, he has been a top 10 quarterback over the last decade. 100%. 100%. You can't deny it looking at the numbers. If he can continue on a pace that's not even crazy. That's not 25 touchdowns. That's not even crazy. Mahomes already at 40. Like 25 touchdowns is super doable. 3,900 yards? Yeah. That's very, very doable for Derek Carr, who throws for a lot of yards generally. He's going to be a top 16 quarterback of all time. Just wait. It's going to be awesome. I can't wait for it. Can't wait for it.
Yeah, those numbers are actually very impressive. Top 16 of all time. Top 12 16. Of all time.
Yeah. Top 11 of all time, yeah.
Those are numbers that you don't...
but he's a bomb.
It's very hard to come by. But
he's not flashy.
But that opens the question, what team is going to get him at such a discounted rate right now? Because I think...
It's a good question.
If you're a GM, you have to view him more at this standpoint than you do from this season's play, right? Than this season's body of work.
Look at a whole body of work.
Okay, but do you think this bad season is going to bring his price down a little bit, and somebody can get a deal and get Derek Carr for cheaper than he should be?
So let's play a little impromptu this or that. So, let's throw out some teams that would be like in the running. Like I think let's go both New York teams. So let's start with the Jets.
Okay. I like him more than Mike White, and I like him more than Zach Wilson.
And let's assume for this that his salary is like pretty average, like middle of the road, because he's like right now he's viewed as a middle of the road quarterback, somewhere a middle of the road salary, 25, 30 million, somewhere around there.
All right.
Mike White or Zach Wilson or Derek Carr.
Derek Carr
easily. I don't even think it's close. That's not even a discussion to me.
No, I don't even have to think about that one. Derek Carr is way more proven and way more just battle tested than Zach Wilson.
Couldn't agree more. And people are like, well, they should draft one. So you're going to draft another rookie quarterback in that division with Belichick, McDermott, and now the Dolphins who look competent?
And I think,
absolutely not. That'd be stupid.
He would fit the bill for New York too because he's a very tough player.
Tough player. He's dealt with critical media his entire career.
Yep.
That wouldn't be a problem for him.
And he's been in Vegas now.
So what's staying in New York? The Giants.
I mean,
Daniel Jones or Derek Carr?
I would take Daniel Jones, or I would take Derek Carr over Daniel Jones.
Thank you very much. Absolutely, I would too.
That's not even one that's that close either. I think Daniel Jones could have some sort of an upside, but I don't see it being more than Derek Carr.
The only way that I would keep Daniel Jones if he was significantly cheaper. If you told me Daniel Jones $15 million and Derek Carr was $30, I'll take Daniel Jones.
What about 20 and 30? Like if Daniel Jones is 20 and Derek Carr's 30, who are you taking? I think I would eat the money on that one. I would just eat it. I would take Derek Carr.
The only reason I think about it is because it's far from a complete roster. Like the Jets, I don't want to say it's a complete roster, but they're closer to being complete, so they don't need as much cap space as the Giants do.
And you have to re-sign Saquon.
But the Giants could use some cap space, so I'd have to think about it. I'd probably lean Derek, though.
Okay.
Okay, what about Washington?
Derek Carr. I would take Derek.
I think Derek Carr as well, and especially because it fits the bill for what they need. A veteran quarterback who's going to produce yards, generally speaking, not going to throw a lot of picks. Right? He averages 11, but that'll probably come down, especially if Rivera stays the defensive coach.
Yes. And then, okay, so real quick, let's go over this.
Don't they feel like a playoff team with Derek Carr?
I think so.
They're just missing it by like a game this year. Do they feel like a playoff team if they have Derek Carr?
I think it definitely helps their case.
I think so too.
Because you have an actual experienced quarterback that knows what he's doing, especially in the playoffs, getting
Couldn't agree
playoff
more.
experience. The one that we have to look at as a whole, I would say the entire NFC South, because you have the Bucks that will probably be looking after Brady leaves.
Okay.
You have the Saints that probably need a quarterback, definitely need a quarterback, because they're not going to ride with Andy Dalton for much longer.
I agree, and they're 7-9 right now. They could finish at 7-10 or 8-9, which means they're not going to be drafting in a very quarterback-friendly draft spot.
Right. Then you have the Panthers and the Falcons.
Now, they probably will be in a quarterback-friendly draft spot, and the Falcons. So if I'm the Bucks, yes, because you have an aging roster, which means you're not ready for a complete rebuild, so you're not ready to go draft a guy and suck for a couple of years. Those veterans, you're losing the locker room at that point. So I would go get Derek Carr for 2-3 years, yes.
Okay, so
for the Bucks,
yes.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think it. Yeah,
that's a
after Brady leaves. I'm not.
And it would be horrific to go from Tom Brady to
Kyle Trask.
Yeah, to some rookie that's never.
What about okay? So I was just saying I would for every other team in the division, yes, except I could make the case that for the Panthers,
they could find somebody better in the draft.
No, maybe not better, but at least younger, cheaper. And that roster is young. That's a full rebuild. If I'm going full rebuild, I'm starting from the top down. I'm rebuilding everything. Right? Like, Atlanta has some pieces. They can run the football a little bit. Defense not terrible. They got some guys on the back end.
If they could plug in the quarterback, they would be in business.
They were competitive this year. They're 6-10, could be 6-11 or 7-10. Are they not close to 500 with Derek Carr and competing for the division?
Easily. In that division, sure.
Exactly. Same with the Saints.
Yeah, I think so. So then what about the Colts? So that's another one. The Indianapolis.
Yes.
So you'd rather have Derek Carr than Matt Ryan. I think I would 100% agree with that.
Yep.
Matt Ryan's aging.
Yes, 100%. And Derek, not that he's mobile, but he can at least move a little bit. Matt is a statue.
He's mobile enough to get out of the way.
Matt at this point is a statue. He's a statue. Yeah, he can't get it done.
He's really starting to show his age.
What about the Titans? Because I think he's better than Tannehill.
So he's better than Tannehill, but then you have to think about what sort of upside you could have with Malik. And we haven't seen much, right? Like, we haven't seen much upside with Malik.
So, my personal view, I think Malik's another 2 years of sitting until being ready. I swear to God, 2 years of sitting.
So what, you would bring Derek Carr in, keep him on the bench, learn behind Derek Carr a little bit.
100%.
Put him in a couple games where you need to see flashes.
Do you think it's crazy?
I don't think it's crazy. I think
Malik is so wrong.
Now, this is a case where you'd really have to get the salary right for Derek Carr, because you're not going to pay Derek Carr a bunch of money when you want to keep Malik Willis around and sitting on the bench and learning and eventually have him be your starter.
Because then it gets a little awkward if he's getting paid too much. Yeah,
right.
I agree.
And we've seen quarterback rooms get messed up with that. So, I don't know. Either way, that was interesting.
That was a good one. It was good. Good little discussion there.
Yeah.
To finish off the show.
Guys, go let us know your take, your thoughts, opinions on everything. On our social media, you can find TikToks of this everywhere, either on TikTok or a short on YouTube or a reel on Instagram. All of those links are in the description of the episode, wherever you are watching or listening. So go hit that link and check everything out there. I said it earlier, go subscribe to the newsletter.
There's going to be coupons on there for the store.
Yes. So that you can find that, theissuesports.com. That's also a link in the description. Just click that. Right on the homepage, it'll say sign up for newsletter. Just type the email in, click sign up. Very easy to stay up to date with the show. Guys, we appreciate you watching and listening. So that was the issue.